Welcome to another episode of Home Sweet Home. My name is Rod McCall.
And I'm Scott Nichols.
I don't want to sound weird or scary, but do you have voices in your head that talk to you?
You realize that the whole world can hear this, right? So,
Okay.
I mean, I have a conscience.
Okay, fair enough. Yes, our own Jiminy Cricket. The reason why, my point in asking this is that I feel like we have a little voice in our head, and maybe yes, we can call it our conscience. I'm not talking, our split personalities or our schizophrenic natures here.
Okay,
but
I was worried there for a minute. I don't know if I've exhibited something that you noticed or what. But.
Well, I'm talking about our inner critic, and I think we all have, or I think most people have, that little voice in our head that talks to us, and it might say, "Oh, good job," or "Oh, are you sure that's the right thing to do?" Or,
Right.
"Man, I don't know that you did so good on that."
Yeah.
And
I like to imagine the old Warner Brothers cartoons with you got the angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other, and they're all whispering in your ear.
Mm-hmm. Okay, fair enough. And of course, which one do you listen to?
That probably depends on my feelings at the moment.
Well, it wasn't just Warner Brothers.
It was all of them.
Yeah, well, it was in a lot of movies. It was in the movie, my favorite scene, or one of my favorite scenes from Animal House.
Okay.
So if you've seen the movie Animal House, you know what I'm talking about. And it's usually not in the version that is shown on TV.
Wow. All right.
But anyway, I say this because, again, this little voice in our head, whether it's the angel or the demon,
Sure,
or it is the, our own Jiminy Cricket from the Pinocchio, thank you, Disney. But, things that it whispers to us, maybe, "Oh, you could have done better on that," or
right.
Sometimes it gets a little negative, like, "Oh, you're not enough," or "Why can't you get this right?"
Yeah.
And I will say that's kind of my point in asking all of this is, do you recognize your inner voice?
I mean, I suppose I do when it comes.
Okay. And what I've noticed, and again, working with all the kids that we have through the years, they will come up to us, "Oh, I really sucked at this," or "Oh, I blew this," or "Oh, whatever it might be. And I wonder how much of this inner critic is also a negative voice.
Well, I think just by the term critic, right? Like we would always, I think, probably interpret critic to mean critical in a negative way, right? Like what was bad about that? Mm-hmm. Whereas truly critical thinking can be positive or negative, but looking at that, being critical of something means, I think, generally to most people to look at the negative side.
Sure.
And so when I think critic, I think of bad things.
Well,
every time I hear when you used to hear the movie critics, right, they would say the bad things about the movie. What was wrong with it? There was very little of what's good about it.
Well, exactly, but they would also talk about some of the good stuff, and that's kind of the point.
They would, but I don't remember it.
I don't,
because when I think critic, I think bad.
Okay, fair point. But it doesn't always have to be bad, because sometimes that inner critic can push us to grow, push us to do a little better,
exactly,
to strive a little harder. And I mean, yeah, is it a guilt tripper? Sure. Is it push us to be a perfectionist, a people pleaser? Absolutely. All right. But if we go a little bit backwards in time, what is the purpose of this inner critic? And I think sometimes I think it's a survival mechanism for us as a child.
Okay.
And it helps us kind of, again, it's that angel or demon pushing us, "Oh, go do this. Oh, no, don't do that. Remember what your parents said." Pushing us to kind of develop, again, that conscience, as you mentioned earlier.
Okay.
And so these defense mechanisms as a child, it can help But as we grow into adolescence and our teen years and then into adulthood, I think depending on the nature of how you've used that inner critic, it can create problems for us, especially the older we get out of childhood.
Right.
And so, anyway, I just thought maybe we could explore, some of the things that are involved in this. Because, I mean, again, the inner critic can help us protect, again, as a child, it can protect us from rejection, shame, or even failure. In fact, there's a lot of exploration into this. Research has gone into this that would suggest that our inner critic isn't actually to destroy us, but it's a defense mechanism.
Right.
And so if we can recognize the intention behind it, could that help us replace the negative self-talk with, I don't know, maybe curiosity?
I mean, I would think so. I like to think of critique when I'm thinking of, and I guess I consider inner critic to mean reflection as an adult anyway.
Okay, yeah.
I would reflect on things I've said or did or was about to do and consider it beforehand. And I think that, when children, we don't often think of them reflecting, but I think that that's probably what's happening.
Okay.
Right. Now, they may not make the best choice.
Fair enough.
Out of it, but I think when I do that, I mean, it could be positive, it could be negative, and I'm looking at how do I get better. Mm-hmm. I don't think that I necessarily did that when I was a kid. I think I looked at my inner critic and I said, I want to have fun.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. And so oftentimes I did things that got me in trouble with my parents or got me into situations that, were possibly even, like almost near-death experiences.
Okay.
As far as car accidents or, just doing stupid things that might have resulted in bad outcomes.
Well, and again, it goes back to your observation of the angel versus the demon. And I think, and again, we all have it.
I came out lucky on a lot of those situations, I'll tell you, because I'm still here.
Yeah.
But, sometimes people don't win on those things.
Well, but again, it is a way for us. Again, it goes back to what I said moments ago about curiosity. Mm-hmm. If we listen to our inner critic as well, why not? Instead of, oh, you screwed up. Well, why don't you do that? Because how many times does our inner critic talk us out of something? And so if you can challenge that inner critic to, instead of no, to be yes, well, why not try it? Why not use your bike to jump that ramp over that, jump the ramp. Sometimes we would put ours over a big hole in the ground. Right.
Now, I don't want to make any suggestions about what kind of dangerous things we should do.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, I think that the trouble that I have is that as a kid, I just wanted to have fun.
Okay,
I didn't have all the cares in the world that I have now.
True.
So I just wanted to have fun and do fun things. And ultimately, as an adult, it's different, right? Whereas as an adult, I'm more concerned with my future.
Oh, uh-huh.
I'm more concerned with circumstances around me or with people. And I don't know how to get students necessarily or kids to consider those things more other than to try to model some thinking, but, or ask those questions, which I'm not as good at. You're better at asking questions than I am. We would stand in the hallway at school and you would ask lots of questions and I would just not. So clearly you've moved into the right role where you can ask questions and make people think. But, that's something that you got a teenager thinking isn't always out in the open.
True. And I think sometimes we will automatically suppress our inner critic. And I don't encourage.
Especially if I disagree with it.
Well, okay, fair enough. I mean, our inner critic can deny us a lot of opportunities, but to totally close it out or to suppress it ultimately will make it grow louder over time.
Okay.
And so the idea isn't to potentially close it off or totally ignore it or totally do everything it says. It's more about understanding this inner critic
Okay.
And because if we can move into understanding it, can that lead us to some self-compassion? For example, you study for a test and you don't do very well. Okay, is that the end of the world?
No, I mean, as an adult, for me, when I've paid $300 for the test, it's going to have an impact. But no, I think from a teenager perspective, is it the end of the world? No, I mean, you can make up the test, you can do you can study more, you can do better on the next test. I mean, there are things that we can just put behind us and improve moving forward on those things, and that's what life is all about, right? So,
Sure. And
I think self-compassion is very important.
oh,
Right?
absolutely.
I mean, I talk to people all the time that are beating themselves up over things. It's like, that's not, what's the point? What is the point of beating yourself up instead of just looking at it objectively as much as possible and saying, what can I do better next time?
And that is the key. And that's what you're right. Self-compassion is to what can we learn from it? Everything is about a learning experience. When we learn, we learn.
It's almost as if when we're born, we're kind of a blank slate, and all we get to do for the rest of our life is learn.
Oh, amen. And so if we address our inner critic with some self-compassion, then because it's not like letting yourself off the hook.
Sure.
It's reducing that self-blame.
Yeah.
And so it can allow for, with, how shall we say, a moderate amount. You don't want to overdo it, because then next thing you know, it's everybody else's fault, not yours. But if we apply some self-compassion, that can actually allow for accountability.
So I want to mention on that for a moment, because you talked about blaming other people, right? We don't want to blame other people, and we also don't want to blame ourselves. Blame, I think, for me, has no value, right?
Okay.
What does blaming do? It doesn't. It just has you camping out on something or assigning it to some other person, in which case you don't have to address it, right?
Right.
And so acceptance is better, right? Just accept what happened, accept what you did, accept whatever, and then figure out how to not do that again, or move on, or do better at it, or maybe it was something that you did well and you want to do more of it.
Oh, yes.
You know what I mean? Like, that's like, blaming does nothing. I feel like blaming has no value.
And
whether I'm blaming me or somebody else, it doesn't have any growth capacity.
That is correct, because it's a deflection, it's a defense mechanism, and so when we get to self-compassion, I want to refer now. There's a professor. She's a professor of educational psychology at the University of Texas at Austin. Yay! We're boo.
A few hours away.
Yeah, but she is a researcher, an author of dealing, a variety of things. But one of the issues she's come up with is what she calls the 3 pillars of self-compassion.
Okay.
And they are self-kindness, common humanity, and mindfulness.
I like those.
And I mean, with self-compassion, all right, with that self-kindness, you're going to replace the harshness with a little bit of empathy. Okay. Well, you failed the test.
Right.
Well, I'm an absolute loser. I'm an idiot. I'm a dummy. No.
Okay.
Well, let's go back and let's replace that harshness with empathy. Okay. Did we truly put our best foot forward? Could we have done something differently that might give us better results?
Right.
Well, okay, if you factor in that there were family stressors and school stressors and work stressors and extracurricular stressors, whatever it might be that caused you to not be able to devote the quality of time you wanted, well, okay, can we reduce some of those outside influences and try again?
Yeah.
Empathy.
Yeah, I think that's so important. And one of the things I dislike is this seeming attack on empathy that we have out there these days, right? I mean, empathy is just, it's so important, and it's emphasized in so many, religions and just throughout life and books and everywhere. I mean, it's an important piece of life. We're not just machines.
Empathy doesn't mean you condone somebody's actions or behavior. Empathy says, I'm understanding from your perspective and your point of view why you did or said what you did or said.
Right. Not everybody's experience is the same as ours, and so there's different outcomes, right? That's one of the wonderful things about humanity is that, if we were all exactly the same, then it would be just boring.
Oh, absolutely.
So, that's the flavor of life.
Oh, totally agree. And that's why I like her comment or her pillar of mindfulness. I have done so much work for myself in better understanding what it is and how it can be beneficial.
Right.
Whether it's meditating or just some quiet time to sit and kind of reflect back on something that day.
Right.
One of my very dearest friends, we were having a conversation just yesterday, and he said, do yoga. He was telling me, he says, Rod, yoga is amazing. And I've done yoga a few times, and I'm thinking maybe I ought to try it a little more.
Sure.
Because it allows you to get a little physical exercise or activity, but it's helping you and your mind relax and calm itself.
Right.
But I think something else we can do is transform this inner dialogue. And this goes back to something that we've talked about, and that is journaling. And I've actually been recommending this to some of my adult clients, is to journal.
Yeah.
And they have been reporting that it actually works and helps them.
Yeah.
And so
you keep bringing this up, and I keep not journaling.
Well, I'm right there with you. I've got a journal book, and I just need to start writing in it because it does. It allows that inner critic. Now you're just kind of you're taking it out and you're making it something more physical, whether you're typing or handwriting. But I mean, you can ask yourself, well, what would I say to a friend who's feeling the same way I am right now?
Right.
And that can help you, then replace a potential harsh response with something with a little more compassion.
Sure.
So
I think that's really important. In a lot of the reading I've done, I see that. I see historical figures that did journaling. And I always think, how do I start? Like, what am I going to say? Like, they must have said wonderful things in their journals, right? Like, my wife journals, and she has lots of great things. And, I was reading that John Adams book that I mentioned before, and he wrote some things in there sometimes that was just like, it was warm today. Mm-hmm. And that was the whole day's entry. Mm-hmm. And I got to thinking, well, maybe I could do this. Maybe this would be meaningful for me. I mean, if he felt it important enough to write that one thing down, and I'm sure he had great other things that happened during that day, but he didn't write down. So but he still felt it meaningful for him. I wonder what that would do for me, even if I just had a thought of, today was hard.
Yeah.
And didn't say anything else, right? I mean, I just wonder what that would look like for me moving forward as you reflect back on what you wrote, because my memory is not very good. Kids say to me, what did we do Monday? I don't remember. Like, look at the calendar. check the management system. Like,
sure.
Look and see what we did. I don't remember.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, we can explore absolutely. We can literally do an entire podcast on the values and benefits of journaling and how to get started. I just argue, start with what you just said.
Yeah.
What happened today? Start with the weather.
That's what I think. I mean, I just need to do it, right? Mm-hmm. So,
well, you can, by doing some of these things, we can move our self-doubt that we have of, can I do this, into self-empowerment of, yes, I can. Because a lot of times our negative self-talk, this self-doubt from our inner critic,
right,
will introduce itself or present itself as, well, it's the logical point of view.
Right.
Well, and we might even use the phrase, I'm just trying to be realistic with you.
Sure.
And is that really being realistic, or is that code for I'm afraid to fail.
I don't know. I mean, I like power, so self-empowerment sounds good. But yeah, I mean, I don't like to fail.
Oh, who does?
And I think as a younger person, that would have, failure is just not something that I wanted to do. And I'm not saying that I want to do it now, but I recognize at an older age that failure is where you learn.
You learn the most.
And so failing at something is okay because I will not likely fail at that again.
And that's yes, absolutely. And I like with this, we can also go into a different mindset, maybe a potential growth mindset. And instead of saying, I can't, or adding the word yet.
Yes.
So I can't do that yet.
Right.
And it's just it's changing a little bit. I don't know how to do this yet can open up doors to learning. I mean, think of what you and I have done on this podcast. Yeah. I have learned so much about crafting all the things that I want to talk about, you want to talk about, and turning them into something. I mean, I'm not really maybe encouraging this, but I know that when I listened to the first few episodes of Home Sweet Home many years ago, and I compare them to today, they flow a lot better today. And I think about when I first started.
And yet we're still amateurs.
Oh, by far. So. By far. Still have a long way to go. But working as a counselor, I got to tell myself, you're not there yet, but you will be. When I was teaching, I was not a very good teacher my first few years. And I don't know that anything we do at the very beginning is very good, but we get better. So by adding, I think just simply adding the word yet allows us to transform failure into feedback.
I think that's true. I think that adding that word yet elicits questions, right? It says to me, if I can't do it yet, then what do I need to do so that I would be able to do it? For instance, moving from a teacher to an administrator in a school, right? Like you can't just go from one to the other, right? If you're just a teacher and you're certified to be a teacher, you have to say, I can't be an administrator yet. I can be a leader, but I can't be an administrator. Why? Because I don't have the certification or the schooling that is required to get that certification to do those things. And so when I said, when I recognize I am a leader, but I can't be an administrator yet because I didn't do these things that take me to that level or that of responsibility. And so what do I need to do? Well, here's a checklist, right? Like I need to do this, this, and this. And when I finish that, then I can, apply to be an administrator. And so it's the same kind of thing with anything, right? Like I can't, when you're 13, you're like, I can't drive a car yet. Right? So at some point, what do I have to do to drive a car? Well, I'm going to have to, practice. I'm going to have to take a class. I'm going to have to pay a fee. I'm going to have to do, And so what is it? And it not only feedback, I think, but it can create in you, if you ask the right questions, which is just, what do I need to do so that I can? Then you can create a checklist and you can create a plan from that checklist.
Yes, because in a way you're rewriting the narrative. And our life is not defined by our mistakes. It's shaped by our recovery. It's not that we get knocked down. It's how we get back up.
Yes, I love it. Right? That's awesome from the Adjustment Bureau.
Well, yeah.
But yes.
I mean, it's not that, another phrase to replace is, I always mess up, to I'm learning what doesn't work. I mean, I'm reminded of, and I've used this many times, oh, crying out loud, the guy that invented the light bulb, Thomas Edison.
Yeah.
They asked him, about, well, it took you 10,000 tries to make the light bulb. And he goes, well, actually, I learned 10,000 ways not to make a light bulb.
Right.
And so, again, we're just changing the narrative so that way that inner critic serves less of an anchor to hold us back and more of a motivator to curiosity to lead us to where we want to go.
And for most of us, we're not necessarily inventing things, right? Like Edison did, or like Tesla, or Alexander Bell, right? Like we're not doing those things. We're just trying to navigate life,
sure,
right, and move forward. And oftentimes, there's people around us. We talked about in the previous podcast about role models.
Mm-hmm.
There's people around us that can help us do those things and see that. So we can share and say, I can't do it yet, but this is what I want to do.
Right.
How do I do that?
Sure. No, you're absolutely right.
How do I get there? Right. And get somebody who can help you do that. And because that person can be affirming to you as well. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Mentors. Awesome to have.
Absolutely. And tying in with that to that inner critic just shows up and it starts talking. And if we can recognize the triggers that help push and drive that negative self-talk, well, then now we can start to address. And especially if we start going, okay, the older we get, the more that self-talk can be more damaging.
Right.
So if we can begin to explore the history of, well, where did this begin? Let's explore the root, that can help. Being able to use evidence to look back,
right,
rather than just go, well, I'm always a failure. Really? You're always a failure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's take a look at that. And what are all the things you failed at? Okay. Right. What are all the things you succeeded at? And believe it or not, our brain actually focuses more on the negative than it does on the positive.
And I think that's a big switch, right? I've talked to people recently who have that and focus on the negative a lot in life. And my question was, what is the positive?
Mm-hmm.
So let's focus on the day. Mm-hmm. I don't even want you to think about the negative. I just want you to just think, what are the positives? Right. Mm-hmm. And if it goes back to journaling and you write down the positive things, imagine.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine how the thinking changes. So I think that's 100% right. Like we need to focus more on the positive, and that's a chore for the brain.
Mm-hmm.
It really is, because our self-reflection is so often just critical. Just the negative criticalness, right? We don't ever shift to what were the good things.
And if we can add self-care, making self-care and self-kindness kind of automatic, then that can help calm that inner critic as well.
Yeah.
And let it be what it is there for, which is to spur us on, to encourage us, not to attack us relentlessly and hold us back.
Right.
I mean, because self-care, we're talking emotional self-care, we're talking physical self-care, social self-care, spiritual, mental, occupational, environmental self-care.
Right.
I mean, because all of these can help us create balance in our life, which can lead to resilience.
Yeah, I agree.
So, like I say, our inner critic is not our enemy.
Right.
All right. It's an outdated protector who forgot to grow with you. And so if I'm not suggesting that we silence it. We're just trying to if we can retrain ourselves.
Right.
And when you meet that voice with compassion instead of combat, the concept, the belief, the idea is that we are going to transform that self-doubt into wisdom and that self-criticism into care.
Yeah, I mean, everything about our life is about response, right?
Yes.
Things happen, things get said, things take place. It's our response that matters.
Oh, absolutely. We cannot control
whether it's to ourselves or others.
Yeah, because we can't control what happens to us. We can only control how we respond. So remember, progress begins with permission. Permission to be human, to be imperfect, and to grow gently.
Again, great words.
Well, they're
Excellent.
not all my own, but hey, it doesn't matter. They're words that resonate, and if they can help, well, then Yahoo.
Well, if you want to be critical of our episode, we would welcome some emails. There's some in the episode here. You can find the links for our email and ways to comment. Please mark stars and give reviews.
Yes, please. We're always looking to get better.
All right.
Well, then, until next time, I'm Rod.
I'm Scott.
See ya.
Bye-bye.